Welcome back to Tiny Grimes Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Destiny video. And today I bring you my review and my ranking of the Empire at War legendaries. One caveat, I'm sure this will change. I haven't played extensively with all of them, so consider this my preliminary ranking of the legendaries. And before we continue, I want to thank everyone who's been supporting the show on patreon.com. But you can also actually go to gaming.youtube.com, look for my videos. I'll have a link below, and you can actually support the show there by sponsoring. So if you want another avenue to sponsor the show, please go ahead and do it. Click like, click subscribe, almost at 10,000 subscribers, and let's get on to the rankings. So the easy one, the real easy one, is Ancient Lightsaber. Ancient Lightsaber is just flat awesome. You might look at it and think, cost 2, you get a so-so upgrade melee that doesn't have redeploy. It's not that great. It's no holdout blaster. Why are we so crazy about this card? Okay, so here's why we're so crazy about it. First of all, there are not a lot of 2-drop melee weapons. There is this, and there's the Shoto Lightsaber, which is also pretty good. So that alone makes it good. You can pull it with lightsaber pull. It's got this +3 side that's pretty sick with anything that has focus, so that's really strong. It works really well with someone like Kanan, who, if you just roll the focus on him before you resolve an action, you can use Kanan's die to move this to the +3 and then resolve your melee. So it's pretty amazing with Kanan. And its ability is just insane. Heal 2 damage from attached character, place it on the bottom. I envision this as a way to keep Big Daddy Vader around for a lot longer. You're able to do things like put that on him, have him last a long time. I'm really excited about that. You're able to loop it with lightsaber pull to get more healing. I've done a lot of plays where I went like, okay, I've got $2 left. My guy's almost dead. I use this ability. Then I go get it back with a lightsaber pull. First action next turn, play the lightsaber, roll the guy out, end up using his ability again. And the guy who looks like he's just about on the brink of death is suddenly not dead. And then, of course, it's also good against mill. Unless they're playing cards that hit your deck, being able to consistently loop this is going to be really strong against mill. Ancient Lightsaber is just a great card. It's going to be an expensive, good legendary for a long time. Alright, Thrawn. Boy, Thrawn is the oddball. Thrawn is either going to be just amazing or not any good. There really is no middle ground with him because he doesn't have mill and he doesn't have damage and he's not as cheap as Unkar. He's a lot. Like for me, at first I was like, maybe we just play him as a 1-die guy. But then what are you getting for 16 that has enough impact to overcome a guy that doesn't actually do anything except for, be amazing and take the best card out of your opponent's hand, or the most useful. So he's really good. He's going to be good in a mill deck. He's really good in Thrawn Car, which is Thrawn Unkar. I'm pretty worried that that buyout is going to get hit. So we're going to need a way to make Thrawn Unkar still be good. If you're looking for that way, Smurley is always a good person to hit up on the Discord channels. He's usually got something good cooking. I saw a list of his tonight. It looks very promising. So if Thrawn Unkar ends up being the real deal, Thrawn is amazing. If not, and this is something I've been noticing, is that Unkar is awesome still with other stuff. So a friend of mine, Jimmy, turned me on to an Unkar Sienna Ray, or China Ray, whatever her name is, I don't know, Phasma deck that's really strong and just churns out vehicles and big damage using China Ray's action and Unkar's ability. Like, do you really need 17 points of Thrawn when you could do things almost just as good for way cheaper? I don't know. That's where I'm a little torn. I want Thrawn to be amazing, and he may be amazing, but this may be one of those cards that we look back on and go, dang, remember when we thought Thrawn was awesome? He doesn't actually do anything. I don't want that to be the case. I think we're going to find a good deck for him, and for now I'm keeping him right at the top. Alright, let's look at the next tier. We've got Ahsoka, CAD Bane, the sniper rifle, the Houndstooth. We got some good stuff going on here. A couple mystery items, though, which is kind of fun at the second tier. Houndstooth is just super solid. It's just resources all over the place. It's uncard triggers. It's just a really good card in a deck that wants to make money. And in Spirit of Rebellion, I don't know that this would see much play. But man, now you can play a little bit slower. You can play these support decks. Houndstooth is looking real good. I'd say its big weakness is ATDP, which just blows it out of the sky. And so that's kind of scary. I blew a Houndstooth out of the sky yesterday, and it was pretty tough for the Houndstooth player. So it's a real solid card. The funny thing is X8 Night Sniper is not as good as the Holdout Blaster of this set, which is the rare version of this, the LL80 something. It's essentially the same thing with redeploy. But it's still a solid card. It works really good on CAD Bane. That's one of the reasons to use it. It's really good on somebody like Sabine that we'll see. It's definitely a good card. It's a solid card. It's a card that if I didn't open it, I wouldn't be too sad about. CAD is the biggest mystery. He either firmly belongs here and maybe a slot higher, or belongs a bunch lower, and I'm still not sure on it. What makes him good is that he only costs 17. So he has this really strong ability where if you play ambush weapons on him, so I have my 2 holdouts, 2 LLs, and an X-Night Sniper in my deck with him. So that's 5 of these ambush weapons. Once you get a loop going, you play the graveyard with him and just start looping them, he's really strong. You're rolling out a ton of damage that they can't mitigate. You have armor platings you put on him, so he's at like 14 hit points. Yellow has all that good removal. It takes a while to get CAD Bane down, and then because he's so cheap, you get to pair him with Phasma, and so you finally get down CAD Bane, and all these ambush weapons have redeploy, and now Phasma's a beast, and this is where CAD Bane is amazing. He has one huge weakness, and it's that 3 for $1, and the fact that the Night Sniper has a 3 for $1. The Holdout Blaster has a 2 for $1. So he has this problem of what happens when you take your 2 resources for the turn, put them in a 2-cost weapon and roll. Well, now you're kind of stuck. CAD may not be able to resolve off of his awesome roll. So then the trade-off is like, okay, I did that this turn. Next turn I can just overwrite. But then it's only 3 dice, right? You really want to get to that spot where you can roll 4 really quick. So I'm a little torn on CAD. I'm trying a new build with 2 copies of Truce and 1 copy of Imperial HQ to kind of get around this problem of needing the money sides on CAD and his weapons. So we'll see. To me, the jury's out on him. I hope he's going to be great. Ahsoka is kind of like CAD, and then I'm not sure. Totally different, of course, in how she works. It's the same thing. She's only a 13-17, so feasibly you could do a lot with her. You can run Elite Kanan with her. Elite Kanan is really strong. You can run Elite Rey. You could run her 1-die with a lot of things. I don't know. I'm really curious about her. I feel like I haven't seen anything good with her yet. Like every time I've played her and every time someone's played me with her against me, I've been like, she's fine. Like she's fine, but there's all kinds of really good stuff, so she's just fine. And I just feel like there's something out there. Like it feels like we're missing it. We're gonna find something, and then we're gonna realize, oh wow, Ahsoka's really good. All right, let's go to the next tier. The next tier is probably gonna be controversial. I think a lot of people think Sabine is really good, and she's certainly solid. And if she was CAD's price at 13-17, she'd be bonkers, right? She'd be totally, amazingly, insanely good. But as it stands, she's Luke that's better, but Luke's not that good. So I don't know what to make of her. I feel like we're still waiting for a good partner with her. What are we really gonna do? Like her and a 1-die Kanan, her and a 1-die Rey. I don't think you want to go single die Sabine. It just doesn't seem worth it unless you're doing something really interesting there. And maybe that is where you go. Maybe you go like single die Sabine, the Jedi Padawan, and then single die Ezra or something. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to Sabine is. Certainly if the lockdown deck doesn't get nerfed, then she does move up. But I just feel like FFG is not going to let a lockdown deck stay around. That's just not how they generally work. So I look at Sabine and I think she's real good, but she's really expensive, and we're just falling into this loop trap. And it's the same thing with K2SO. He's not terrible, and I'm sure someone's going to find a build with him and be like, this build is awesome, and we'll try it, kind of like the Luke Ray thing, and go, yeah, no, it's fine, but you know what's better is like cheaper guys, cheaper villain guys with amazing removal. That's actually better. And so Sabine and K2SO fall in the same sort of really, really expensive 3-die deck that I'm just not that I'm not that big of a fan of. It's just they never quite work out unless their name is Vader and you have Force Strike to go with it. So the jury is definitely out on both of these cards, but I think this is probably the right spot for them. Seven Sister is a card I had valued a lot higher, actually, at the start of the set. Being able to get an Elite for 11 and 3 dice for 14 sounded really good. But the Seeker dice are really weak. We don't have a way yet to just, like, be able to use dice for nothing. Like, Unkar needs those numbers to be higher. If we had I keep trying to think of the name of this card. The yellow card that lets you do direct damage just for having yellow dice out. If we had that for blue, that would be great. If the Seeker droids were supports, I'd feel better about them as well. It just feels like if you load her up with Seeker droids, then they just kill her. Then you spend a lot of resources. I don't know. I feel like she should be better, but I can't really find a good deck for her. I mean, really, one way to look at her is 9s cost 10, 13, has 11 health, and has the sickest effect in the game. So that may be the reason why Seven Sister is struggling right now. It's just 9s is so good, and he basically takes her slot. So if 9s get some sort of nerf, then maybe Seven Sister becomes better. Chopper's really interesting because Chopper I didn't even realize was a legendary. When I finally realized he was a legendary, I did a double take. I was like, what? How? What? All the droids are not legendaries, but Chopper is. Chopper's really cool. He's electroshock and a stick. He's got a couple melee sides. He's fine. He's not super powerful. He's not 3PO powerful. He's just a fine card. He certainly isn't flashy. He's probably a card that when people open him, they're pretty darn disappointed. But he's not bad. He's not bad at all. Alright, let's move on to the fourth tier. This is the tier where things get a lot dicier, and you start looking at them and going, I don't know. Oh, actually, I wanted to put Mace in this tier. So this is the tier where they're all sort of situational. Everything's a bit too expensive, but there's probably going to be a deck where they're good. Ghost, to me, I've played it now. I didn't think it was good before. After playing it, I really don't think it's good. It's got only a 2 damage for not needing money for a 4 cost thing. That's just too darn much. It's just too much. I know it has the special that makes it super flexible, but if you're paying 4 for a support, you probably, say 8 times out of 10 want the damage, and it just doesn't do that much damage for 4. Let's skip to the cannon and the rifle together. These are the same type of cards. They're really, really expensive. They are not vehicles, so you can't do some of the really cute things you can do, like with China Race, reactivating. But if you can find a deck that can comfortably churn out 5 and use it for a weapon like this, then they're going to be good. So I feel like there's probably going to be a deck or two where they have their moments, but these certainly are not cards that are going to slot in a lot of decks. If you open them, you're probably going to be disappointed. Master of the Council and the Inquisitor Saber fall into a similar category, but they're cheaper and they're more, like, especially Master of the Council is actually a really good closer. I've been slotting just one of them into my mono blue decks because it's such a good closer. I'm not saying that's a great card, but it's not a bad closer, and I think in the right deck it can really shine. Grand Inquisitor's Lightsaber. The thing's got 3/3 sides. It works well with Force Strike. I think it's too expensive at 4, but you know, there's probably going to be some deck that wants it as a closer. And Mace, boy, I wish Mace was better than this. It makes me really sad. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm really hoping I'm wrong. He does have 3 damage sides, and 1 is a 4. Like, that has to be good, right? But his action is so bad. It's basically blank. And that's what kills me about him. It's like I'm paying 22 for no ability whatsoever, just hoping that I roll his 2 dice out and they don't get mitigated when I hit him. I will say this, if nothing happens to Maz, then maybe he is fine. Maybe just Maz Mace is fine. It just still feels like that, okay, I'll kill Mace, now what? And it's like, well, Mace did 4 this turn. Like with let's say, compare it to like Poe Maz. Mace Maz, you roll out Mace, they mitigate 1, you hit the perfect side on Maz, you get to spin Mace aside to a 4, you pay 1, you do 4 damage. Okay, your turn's over. That was your turn. Your opponent's going to do a hell of a lot more than 4, and they're going to kill Mace rather quickly. The thing with Poe is that when he hit the one side, it was 12 damage. Or, no, 9 damage, because he could do 3 damage to 3 different characters. That's a lot different than just 4 damage. Whenever Poe went like, haha, I falcon you for 4, you're always like, woo, dodged the bullet there. I only got hit for 4. So, I don't know, I want to be wrong so badly, and you tell me in the comments below that I am, but I just don't think Mace is better than this. It makes me real sad, trust me. Alright, the last legendary is, well, one of my favorites. I love the Grand Inquisitor so much, and he is so bad. Like, I just can't imagine playing him. At 1419, his die is essentially the same as CAD's. Yes, he does have some cool tricksy things, but at 1419 he has to carry the load, so you want him to do damage. So he basically has the same die, and his ability, though cool and does damage, is actually worse because CAD's lets you cheat out your damage. So he seems to be worse than CAD to me. He also seems to be worse than New Vader, who's 1317, has 11 health, has 4 damage sides, and pairs with a lot of good cards like Phasma. Inquisitor at 19 really just doesn't pair with that much. What are you going to really do, like an Elite Inquisitor FN deck? No, I don't think you are. You could do Inquisitor 7th Sister and get 4 dice, but I don't think that's worth it either. I think he's just in a weird spot of being pretty much unplayable right now because of his cost point and because of the cost points of people around him, right? I mean, FN costs 10. CAD's 1317. Vader's 1317. Amazing Vader is only 21. So it's like, what are you getting with Inquisitor that you can't get with Vader? And that's really what happens when he's surrounded by these 2 Vaders. You have to find the perfect person at 11 that's just too strong to cost 13, so it couldn't pair with the other Vader, and too good for both Vaders. That's really what we're waiting for. So for now, the Inquisitor goes in the binder, and in the future, who knows. So hopefully you enjoyed the video and my rankings. I'll see you next time on Tiny Grimes Games, and go over to YouTube Gaming. Check out a video. If you want to be a supporter, go for it. There's going to be emojis and avatars and all kinds of cool stuff. And I'll see you next time on Tiny Grimes Games.